Especially if we have to think about the second biggest beneficiary to this entire ordeal. In an interview with Hitmaker, a label head by the name of Ghazi, the head of Empire Records, Hitmaker let it be known that Ghazi has a warehouse in San Francisco. Now, we all know San Francisco is also in California. That warehouse in San Francisco is just about 5 hours of drive from where Pop Smoke was.
We have some special guests in the studio today.
Yes.
First of all, I kidnapped Big Poppy, DJ Enough, and I'm
in
like, you're
here.
going to hang out with me.
I'm in here, sis.
And then we got Hitmaker in the building.
Yeah.
I have to refrain myself from calling you Young Bird.
Yeah,
it's
you been
killing
calling
me
me
because
Berg
I
for
know.
decades,
I'm like,
yo.
Berg. And I'm like,
I know.
formerly known, TT, formerly known. And shout out to my brother Ghazi, who's in the building from Empire.
He's
Shout
the
out to
Empire.
you. He is the Empire,
He
right?
is the Empire.
He is the Empire. First of all, congratulations, Hitmaker.
Thank you.
On all your success.
Thank you.
You recently joined the Empire team as the, what is it? Hold on, I want to make sure I get it right. Vice President
Yeah. It's
of
something like that.
A&R.
Yeah.
Now, isn't that interesting as well? The same person that would let us know. See, this is why I said I was on to everyone. I was on to every hand in this pot. Isn't it interesting? Hitmaker becomes vice president of Empire post Pop Smoke's killing. Isn't it interesting that the same woman with a do-over thoughts, the same woman Hitmaker alleges was involved in his home invasion was also involved in Pop Smoke's? As if he knew them.
I mean, man, Empire is like a real family. You know what I'm saying? So titles really don't mean much to me. You know what I'm saying? I can call Ghazi's here with me at my interview.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just a family-oriented thing. So the title, whatever it is, I'm just here to get the job done and
Well,
help us
congratulations.
take it to
I
the next
recently
level.
got vice president.
You too.
Here.
Oh, okay.
So I understand.
Let me also say that I have always taken a notice to I'm gonna say Young Berg, but he's Hitmaker now. But I've always taken a notice to his female mannerisms that he's gained over the years.
Work. I know you're always working.
Man, I ain't gonna lie. So yesterday was so crazy. Kevin Gates, shout out to Kevin Gates, his record went gold. So that officially made me 80 million records sold. So, man, I'm almost at 10 billion streams, 80 million records sold. And I'm just been, foot on necks. Everybody's single. Everybody's stuff. I probably got 8 records at radio out of 50 that's going right now. You know what I'm saying?
Can you just
it's a
run
good
them
vibe.
down so people listening can understand we're in,
Okay.
they're hearing great Victoria's B.I.G. Yeah.
And you being able to have a good marriage with the partner. So if you're producing the music, somebody has to do the lyric part and the writing part of it, and that together essentially makes a hit record. And if he has the vision for it, that's why he calls himself the Hitmaker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think he's got his pulse, his finger on the pulse, brother. And that's we were just talking about you before you even got up here, and I was saying how proud I was
Appreciate that.
you because you just restarted your whole career all over again.
Yeah, reset button. For me, it's just staying on the pulse of everything. You know
How
what I'm saying?
often do you reset, though? I'm curious.
No, me resetting was from Youngberg to Hitmaker, and I just pressed the reset button on my whole career. But as far as me, I just stay on the pulse of what's hot, and I stay in the studio as hard as it is a task with also having my own company and also establishing my own publishing company and working with a lot of different
But I
people.
think it's important for people to understand sometimes in life, period, and in your career, you need to hit the reset button.
Yeah, for sure.
We all do it.
Because sometimes we think what we're doing is that big thing because
Right.
we've been in it and we're so close to it. and we can't see past what we can see.
Facts. And I think a lot of people need to understand that if you're really in this business, this music business, and you're in it for a long time and make a career of it, it's not wrong, nothing wrong with evolving. You can start as an artist, and then you could evolve and be one of the biggest managers in the game, or you could evolve and be on some Hitmaker and be one of the biggest producers.
Yeah. Because you probably, when you were rapping as a rapper, did you think, okay, that was it for me? I hit the epitome.
No, I always like study, like have that hunger and that energy. And see, but look, I am a like a Def Jam baby, you know,
Game.
like so adamant and just like really like gun ho, like, man, I'm going with Ghazi. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of different people, when I expressed it and I said I'm gonna go do this deal or whatever, they're like, oh, you're gonna leave a major label system to go do this with Ghazi? And I'm just like, yo, he believes in me. We're both like-minded. He actually does music. Like Ghazi, he's a humble
That's the
beast.
part right there.
He's still mixing
I
records.
always
He's still in
say
the
this
trenches
about
with,
Ghazi.
you know what I'm
Even
saying?
when you're not in the room, guys, when people ask me about Ghazi, and a lot of people do, they like, oh, what you think? Should I go here? Blah, blah, blah. I always say this about Ghazi. He is an artist executive,
Right.
which means he cares about the artist regardless if the artist is making him money.
Facts.
Like, he cares about the artist. And I think you got to commend that, because there are a lot of labels. When you start making them a lot of money, they're on your
Lots of praise
they're
here
on
for
your ass.
Ghazi,
They
isn't
love
there?
you, they hate you. They just want everything. They want to be around you 24/7, right? Like, you're their
Yeah.
moneymaker. But when you don't have a hit record,
Oh, no, it's over.
and when you're cold, and when you're struggling to find your way, or you're dealing with addiction, or whatever the case may be, whatever comes with an artist, they're so quick to leave you by the wayside. That's why I respect Ghazi a lot.
This what the realest thing to me was, though, too, because like I'm making these records and when you're in a corporate situation or whatever, and it's just like, man, like I'll go make a record that's a hit that I believe is a hit, and then somebody like, with all due respect, like a white guy that's never been in the studio or been around these artists or whatever, be like, well, maybe we could change this or that, and it always threw me off. But like when I linked with Ghazi, when we did, because Ghazi has an amazing compound that's in San Francisco that I have a room in that I work out of. We made blues record back.
A compound in San Francisco, just 5 hours away from Hercules Drive.
That is in that compound. And that was like, yo, we're gonna get, and it was pressure on me because I'm like, yo, I just left Atlantic. I want to make a hit out the gate. So
Yeah.
the first thing we do
5-hour
has to
drive
be a
away.
hit. And we created that record. And after the record was done, he still challenged me. He came back to me and said, bro, this record's too long. You have to figure out a way to make this transition or whatever. And that's what prompted me to do like the breakdown before 2 Chainz verse and cut the hook a little bit shorter. But that was Ghazi telling me like, yo, you really know how to do this. You need to go and change this and change that.
Yeah.
And I respected it so much, and it ended up working out for us.
I love that. See, I love you, Ghazi. I love you.
Good job, Ghazi. Good
you're
job.
So smart, Ghazi.
Speaking
God.
of, yes, he did do Tink very wrong, as did Timbaland, didn't he? One thing about Tink, I wish she didn't, mix her business with pleasure. I think that's the problem there. But not to get too far off topic. Ghazi here, yes, I agree with you. Sits and collects insurance. We're going to get into that just in a second. Meet Ghazi Shami. Ghazi Shami is the CEO of Empire Distribution. Now, if you're not familiar by now with this gentleman's face, which even looking at him, you feel like he looks like the damn devil. Even with the baggy eyes. Some would equate that to just never sleeping and just hard work, right? But he literally looks like the devil in some cases if you look at his pictures. Ghazi has, gained a almost 25-75 evil versus good, more evil than good, reputation for himself in the industry. Reason why Ghazi Shami has developed that bad rap
Start to see kind of like the multiple
is because a lot of his artists on the label have passed away.
5,000 engaged fans than 100,000 casual fans.
Wow. You hear that? And when you say engagements, like, sign up for TuneCore and all of these things.
Where they're going to share it with their friends or their family or their loved ones. And then you start to see kind of like the multiple of the engagement growing. I'd rather sign an artist that got 5,000 engaged fans than 100,000 casual fans.
Wow. You hear that? And when you say engagements, like, sign up for TuneCore and all of these things.
I mean, people that are gonna, you can look at somebody's social media, right, and they might get 1,000 likes and 10 comments, or you might see somebody else get 300 likes and 300 comments. So that particular person has a lot of engagement because their fans are talking back to them, they're communicating with them, they're buying their clothing, they're coming to their shows, so on and so forth. I don't care if it's 50 people in the show, but if there's 50 people at your show that are shouting every word of your song, you have something.
Now, reason why we're going to now get into Ghazi Shami is because Mr. Ghazi Shami has had quite, and I mean quite, a bit of, I guess you could say, owner's bad luck over the years. Because literally, exactly, the real Death Row Records, Empire. You can go down a list of names that have died from Empire Records, from Pop Smoke to King Von, Triple X. Trying to think of the young gentleman's name that was from LA also. It was something the Ripper or Reaper, but he died backstage in at Rolling Loud. Mo 3. The list goes on. And of course, the biggest name to note would be Young Dolph. So many artists have died. Yes, Drakeo the Ruler. That's who I was trying to think of. Thank you, Sadate. Drakeo the Ruler. Drakeo the Ruler died at the back of Rolling Loud. He was stabbed to death. Now, what's interesting about majority of the PNB Rock was another one. And what's interesting about all of their deaths, they all involved supposed street killings or ways of the streets could kill you. King Von was ironically booked at the same venue as his own ops with Quando Rondo. Never in history have you ever heard of that type of situation happening. But King Von and Quando Rondo ended up being at the same club the same night. Needless to say, one lost their life and the other one received some money for it. Young Dolph, who I will do a video on very shortly. Very shortly. Young Dolph's cousin would go on record to say he was making too much money with Ghazi, and that Ghazi was noticing that. And that when he went to go on his own, Ghazi didn't take a liking to Young Dolph leaving off on his own. There's quite a few instances, including Pop Smoke's, where you literally would hear in interviews, Pop Smoke and Ghazi never even spoke. So how is it that one of the biggest artists of your label you don't even speak to? It would go on to confirm later on that Ghazi doesn't have the best communication with his artists. I have here a quick 4-part of the many reasons why people call Empire Records the real Death Row Records.
Will I go to hell? In my trap house counting guala, talking to my scale.
You have relationships with Ghazi.
Yeah. So you never worked with my man Ghazi, Empire
I never
Records?
worked with E1. I worked with Guy.
What is it about Ghazi that, like, they got a formula, they got a team, they just straight with it, man. What is it that about them over there, Empire and Ghazi over there in the Bay? Shout out to the Bay.
I don't with nothing that Empire, bro. I'm not supporting nobody from Empire, not with nobody with Empire, not getting on no features with nobody from Empire. Nothing, bro. I can't support nothing that they took from me like this, bro.
You know what I'm saying? But Ghazi it's kind of hard to work with Ghazi.
Really?
And I've talked to other people, and they said the same. I don't want to talk bad about him. You know what I'm saying?
This is your facts.
But it's difficult
You know what I mean? As an artist, when this is your bread and butter,
Right.
and you don't really have no solid communication with your record label or your distributor. Communication is key. And Ghazi has a history of failing to communicate properly. And I know a lot of artists who watch this, they like this. Right on, Pat. You know what I'm saying? Because this shit is a fact, bro. Like,
Really?
yeah. I've talked to other artists, and that's the issue. And for me, I couldn't do that.
Right.
I couldn't.
So you stating on here that Empire is the best place for distribution for independent artists.
Do you see how unsure Young Dolph got as soon as he asked him that question? Now, what I also want you to pay attention to is the fact that majority of Empire Records artists also have interviews with $1 million worth of game.
It was the best place for you.
It's the best place for me.
Important clues in solving a mystery in Memphis. Who shot and killed young Dolph in his own hometown?
Rapper B.l.a.c was reportedly shot to death at a restaurant in Los Angeles Monday afternoon.
A Los Angeles-based rapper has died following a stabbing at a music festival in Exposition Park.
Worst thing comes to worst, I die a tragic death or and I'm not able to see out my dreams. I at least want to know that the kids perceived my message and were able to make something of themselves and able to take my message and use it and turn it into something positive and to at least have a good life. I at least, if I'm gonna die or ever be a sacrifice, I want to make sure that my life made at least 5 million kids.
Well, this is an active crime scene with 2 parking lots partially roped off and GBI investigators still here on scene. This shooting made national headlines as officials confirmed one of the 3 people shot and killed was rapper King Von from Chicago, who was here last night with friends.
Success to me is autonomy. I'm completely in control of my own destiny and completely in control of my own decision making. It's that simple to me.
Ghazi Shami grew up loving hip-hop music and its culture, so much so that he wanted to pursue it professionally, but passing on college was not an option in his family. So he met his parents in the middle and enrolled in an audio program at San Francisco State. After a short-lived attempt to be an artist, and then producer, and then engineer, Ghazi combined his passion for music and his mastery of tech in his brainchild, Empire, a distribution company and record label.
I can't support nothing over there, bro. It ain't that I don't the artist, but if you know you with Empire, I can't with you, bro. I can't with you, bro. I don't give what you pay me. I can't with you. Them dudes, the devil, bro. Like, they praying I go to jail, bro. They praying I go to jail, bro. I thought they was gonna pay me, but when I got in trouble, they like me now, you know. All of them was at the table when they forged my name. My brother, Blue, and guys.
So pretty much what Boosie was saying is that his name was forged into a contract with Empire. He had nothing to do with actually signing to Empire. On top of, wouldn't it be interesting that they were literally trying to make Boosie go, or should I say, trying to sabotage it to where Boosie went to jail? There's 2 ways a label can profit off of an artist without them profiting off of it or benefiting from it. You either are dead or in jail. In this instance, they didn't say, hey, well, let's kill Boosie and keep his money or collect off the royalties after he's passing. We'll make more money off Boosie with him being in jail, considering his already, track record of being there and rapping. Let's bank off Boosie going to jail. Notice how Boosie said he noticed the play and did not go for it.
Me now, you know. All of them was at the table when they forged my name. My brother, Blue, and Guys.
Since being founded in 2010, Empire has provided distribution and label services for artists including
And Guys. Me now, you know. They praying I go to jail, bro. I can't fuck with you, bro. I don't give a what you pay me. I can't fuck with you. Them dudes, the devil, bro. Like, they praying I go to jail, bro. They praying I go to jail, bro. I thought they was gonna pay me, but when I got in trouble, they like me now, you know. All of them was at the table when they forged my name. My brother, Blue, and Guys.
Since being founded in 2010.
Well, the crazy thing in regards to that, yes, I did notice the eye slit as well. The crazy thing with that, not to get too far off topic, is that Jaguar has also said that Boosie was an informant. So it would also make sense to why they only wanted to get him arrested and put in jail versus killing him off, because you wouldn't be able to kill off an informant, would you? That's one thing. But yes, I did notice that as well with Boosie. And he does sound like he's a scout for Empire. He pretty much always has been. Especially when you think of Dolph in that regards. But needless to say, Ghazi doesn't have the best track record amongst artists the way he says he does.
Empire has provided distribution and label services for artists including Kendrick Lamar, Anderson .Paak, Snoop Dogg, Cardi B, and XXX Tentacion.
I'm Palestinian. So it all comes from who I am innately DNA-wise, where people with no country and no rights and no voice. So my parents brought me to a country where I could have a voice and have rights. Seeing the struggle in my father's eyes from where he came from and what he had to give up to bring us here was a flame from the time I was like 5 years old.
Was music prevalent in your house as a kid?
Very little. We had a lot of Arabic music in the house. The one thing that you can acquire for free is relationships. So I spent a lot of time building relationships. I was at a lot of conferences. I flew all over the world to build a lot of the relationships that I have now. And a lot of those relationships last a really long time because a lot of the people who are definitely key figures and gatekeepers in the music industry, they happen to move around from company to company. And once you've formed a strong bond with them, as they tend to shift around, you can utilize those relationships, you know, to get your music into places that you otherwise might not be able to get them to.
It's a level of success where it's a door. It's a door. When you platinum and you getting 50,000 a show, I've been there. There's a door that you can walk in. I'm not sure if it's homo or if it's Illuminati.
At the end of the day, all I did was open the door. It was up to him to walk through.
Wait, hold on. Don't play that motherfucker. Hold on. Wait. So who is this you featuring PNB?
Oh, well, if you're talking about Ghazi's eyes, that was another thing I pointed out with the Hot 97 interview. I mean, you could literally see the bags in his eyes. They don't necessarily look like bags under his eyes, as much as they pretty much look like demon eyes on Ghazi.
Rock this PNB.
That's folk shit. I'm on this shit.
New PNB Rock.
I too wondered the same thing that caption says. What sacrifice had Gilly made, and what sacrifice did Wallow make, that they were signing such a huge contract for their podcast? On top of it, this made me think about how they literally have interviewed majority of Empire's artists prior, and I mean just prior to them passing, were going to jail.
Gilly the King laying his oldest son, Devin Spady, to rest on Monday. Spady, who rapped under the name Young Cheese, was killed in a shooting at the corner of Masher and Nedro last Thursday night.
This senseless acts of violence, these acts of violence, these shootings, has to stop, man. I mean, what good is it?
Spady is one of 239 homicides counted by Philadelphia police this year, most killed through gun violence. Family friends say the loss hurts even more, knowing Gilly has long pushed people to choose a different path.
He always promoted a positive image and always talked about putting the guns down. So it's unfortunately that his son had to meet his demise.
Oh, how could Gilly sacrifice his own son? Hell, how did Kanye West sacrifice his own mother?
What drill rapping was, but I called my son and he sent me some videos and it is alarming. And we are going to pull together the social media companies and sit down with them and state that you have a civic and corporate responsibility. You know, I mean, we pulled Trump off Twitter because of what he was spewing. Yet we are allowing music, displaying of guns, violence. We're allowing it to stay on these sites because look at the victims. We're bringing them in. We're going to show exactly what is being displayed. And we are alarmed by it. We are alarmed by the use of social media to really over-proliferate this violence in community.
Tuesday night, there's been a lot of talk about drill rap, drill music, New York City, connecting violence with the culture. And I just wanted to create a conversation with the mayor. We brought Fabio here. We got young b.l.a.c here. We got Slow and Bucks here. We got b.l.a.c here to talk about, what's really happening so the mayor could get a real perspective and a real understanding of what drill rap is. And so that, we could have some real dialogue and really start to really make things happen.
We're going to roll out something together on the whole conversation, and we're looking forward.
Again, post Pop Smoke, you see Fabio Foreign where he is.
And I appreciate you, man.
Definitely.
So now you've also added label functions to the company.
Correct.
So you started as a distributor, grew into something that combined both distribution and label. So can you talk about what the label services are and how that differs from the type of deal that you might do with somebody as strictly a distributor?
A couple minutes ago, I referred to our 80-20 deals as like our farm system deals. A lot of times what we'll do is we'll acquire talent and then nurture the talent and watch the talent grow, right? So what a lot of major labels do now is they have what they call research departments. And their research departments literally like comb YouTube, comb Twitter, they're combing through Vine, they're looking at a lot of analytics that they receive from Shazam and Twitter and so on and so forth. And what they're trying to do is basically acquire a set of knowledge to then say, I want to go out and I want to sign this artist.
28.
We took a
If you can broadcast frequencies carrying information, this technology has long been known, carrying information and perceptions within the frequency that the brain decodes information, the brain will decode those frequencies and will have those perceptions. You can externally influence people's perceptions externally by broadcasting these frequencies that we interact with because we are antenna.
The industry treats artists too much like a commodity and not as a person.
Artists are starting to understand what rights they want to retain.
The whole world wants to be in the music industry now. You can be almost homeless
to go into making just so much money you can't even keep up with.
Shit, everybody should be making money.
When TLC won 2 Grammy Awards in 1996, they were the world's biggest selling female music group, but they were also broke.
We are the biggest selling female group ever. 10 million albums worldwide. We have worked very hard. We have been in this business for 5 years. And we are broke as broke can be. As broke can be.
Artist deals in the 90s were incredibly, and still are incredibly complex. A lot of times those deals will be not in the artist's favor because of the way that they're structured. They were, quite simply, old school record deals were simply bank loans at the highest rate imaginable.
Traditionally, an advance was only recoupable from an artist's share of the music sales. But as record labels began to lose revenue from declining physical album sales and online piracy, they began offering artists 360 deals. A 360 deal allows the label to recoup that advance from the artist not only from music sales and streaming revenue, but also from all other streams of income for the artist, including touring revenue, merch, sync licensing, publishing, and endorsements.
It's essentially like indentured labor, where 9 times out of 10, the artist will remain in debt to the record label for the initial upfront advance that the record label paid them and they never paid off. And they remain tied to that record label with relatively small degree of control over their commercial approach and marketing approach and no ownership of the copyright.
So if a record label gives you a $1 million deal, what does that actually mean? It's really an advance on future royalties, meaning it must be paid back to the label from revenue you earn after you make the music. So let's say you've negotiated an 80-20 split on the royalties. That means your music would need to generate $5 million in revenue in order to fully recoup the $1 million advance owed back to the record label. Then you can start collecting your 20% share of the revenue. Now every deal is different, but you're probably signing away ownership of your copyright or master recordings to the label. Typically, that $1 million advance is often used by artists to budget for things like studio time, album features, music videos, marketing, lawyer and manager fees, and their everyday living expenses. From Prince to Kanye and Taylor Swift, many artists have tried to fight back against the record contracts, particularly if they've signed away ownership of their masters. But labels say they're taking a big gamble when they invest in an artist.
We took a different approach and we said, we don't have the funding to go put together a research staff. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start to acquire talent in my distribution company. And because the distribution company is owned by us, we can see how different artists are performing in the distribution company. So what we did was we spent the time and the money to develop our own analytic system internally that tracks how different artists are performing on our platform. And then depending on how that artist is performing, we might approach them and say, hey, you're doing pretty well on your own. Are you interested in maybe tearing up to one of our other deals where we can bring in a radio staff, we can provide money for publicity, for touring, for higher level production, mixing, mastering, publicity. It could be a host or a number of different things depending on who the artist is and what they need.
But that presumably changes the nature of the relationship a great deal, because one assumes then assumes that you are also doing things like offering an advance to pay for the recording.
Absolutely.
And then also means that now you own the master and the artist doesn't.
In more often than not, we just license the masters.
Okay.
So after 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, they'll revert back to the artist. But
even if you've paid the advance and paid for the recording,
as long as we recoup.
Okay.
Yeah, but most of our deals recoup, which is unlike most other record companies.
And what about the royalty breakdown? Do you do something other than a traditional record deal where an artist is getting 15-20% of net? What's your deal?
Most of our deals are 50-50 or better.
Let me ask you this, P, because a lot of artists are affiliate or assumed to be a part of this secret society, the Illuminati, and they think it exists in the music. People think it exists in the music business, and that urban artists actually are able to participate in the society. Have you experienced anything that leads you to believe there is a secret society, that some artists are privy to certain access that others aren't?
Nah, I don't believe that.
You don't believe that?
Nah.
I don't believe that. I believe that there's definitely secret society.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I believe definitely maybe some of these label heads, like major labels and like major corporate companies, might have something to do with it, and they, might be involved with the agenda.
But the point what I'm trying to say, whether it's Drake or the Ruler, I didn't even know Fireboy DML was on it. Mo3, X, Young Dolph, PNB Rock really was barely on it. Probably did like a song or two. Or King Von. Empire doesn't benefit from them. Empire, it's not like, for example, Pop Smoke is signed to Steven Victor. Steven Victor had him in the major label system. Steven Victor's getting the bag off that. Obviously the family too, because you would be an asshole not to cut the family in, but Empire not really eating off these artists that passed away. And if that's your case, it would be basically saying, yo, iTunes is getting a killing. iTunes gets 30% off any sale, any stream, any transaction on the Apple platform. I think Empire probably takes at max 30% too. So if you're gonna say that Empire's benefiting all these guys' deaths, so is Apple iTunes.
French getting an amazing experience. This is in Miami. French pulled up, and by the way, I looked at French differently that night because I'm still looking at him from the rap lenses, but I'm not realizing how this guy has taken advantage of the opportunity and just like being popular and famous and even being in these circles. Like he's cool with these motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Like he introduced me to. I didn't even to Larson Pippen, Serena Williams, like just random people there. It was like I'm in there like, yo, this gotta be like the closest to the Illuminati I'm gonna get.
And so the A440 is what now is the standard tuning. If you go A439, you're closer to one of the creator's tones. If you go A441, you're closer to one of the creator's original tones. That's how precisely it has been manipulated. To do what? To shut down the 95% of your brain, particularly the right brain that operates the heart mind to the divine human community.
So, what have we learned so far, right? Ghazi pretty much is damn near the devil when it comes to Empire Records, and hasn't had the best quote-unquote communication with a lot of his artists either. On top of, it's pretty much said now to be the graveyard, if you will, to a lot of rappers. From Drake the Ruler to PNB Rock, the list names it. And then you have $1 million worth of game, which seems to be one of the funnels for Empire, and who are they about to remove next? As if their interview happens right before their killing.
Frustration thing with my label. Well, I do feel like too, man, like because I all these. My situation was a little bit different because I felt like my label just wasn't like they ain't believing what I had going on at the time. But it's all these little me's coming out and they streaming, they going crazy, they doing everything they supposed to be doing. I'm like, bro, that's what we supposed to be doing with my shit. For me, and it's like y'all letting these niggas outrun me now because I can't even drop as much as I used to drop.
You just signed a deal with Atlantic.
Yeah, we signed. This just was like a frustration thing with my label. Well, I do feel like too, man, like kind of what got you here was being able to drop freely, heat up the street. You're somebody who's been a part of the major label system for what, 6-7 years now? When did you first sign? 2016. So yeah, it's about 6 years, right? Yeah. And you've shared your frustrations with your label recently, earlier this year. What is it like? Where do you think kind of the disconnect is for PNB Rock and being on a major label? It's like labels is like still like they catching up, you feel me? But it's like they still kind of stuck in that old stigma where it's like it's like I don't know how to say it. It's like the deals was so shitty back then, you feel me? And they still like try to implement that shit now. Like we still in those times, and they be like, bro, we streaming now and shit. Like people ain't going to the store and buying no fucking CDs and shit. Bro, that shit over.
but they still got the deals kind of structured like that. You feel me? It's like, why the fuck? If y'all can catch up with the money on the stream, why the fuck y'all can't catch up with the bills? You feel me? Like, that shit don't be making sense to me. And they be like, once you learn it as an artist, that shit be like kind of like scary for a label. They'll be like, man, this motherfucker asking too many questions.
Right.
You gonna figure it out. They'll try to stall you out, you know what I'm saying? But it's like,
He's also the king of my copyrights.
Rapper B.l.a.c was reportedly shot to death at a restaurant in Los Angeles Monday afternoon. TMZ is reporting that he was the victim that the LAPD has yet to publicly name. Cops say a suspect walked into Roscoe's House of Chicken and Waffles in South Los Angeles, got into a verbal altercation with the victim at a table, and then shot him. They say the suspect then took some of the victim's possessions and fled to a car in the parking lot, taking off in an unknown direction. The victim was taken to the hospital where
My condolences, what had happened, blog. My condolences to your best friend. My deepest condolences to your best friend. That is very enlightening that soon after doing business with Wallow, she mysteriously passes.
he succumbed to his injuries.
A grant, no less.
Condolences have been pouring in on social media. Offset tweeted, "Pray for B.l.a.c." Nicki Minaj tweeted, "He was such a pleasure to work with. Condolences to his mom and family. This makes me feel so sick." The governor of New Jersey even offered his sympathies, saying, B.l.a.c was a star in the industry, sending our condolences to his friends and family during this time. Police say they are still investigating and don't have a description of the suspect at this time. Some of B.l.a.c's last social media posts were of him and his girlfriend. He is survived by 2 children. B.l.a.c was 30 years old.
We won't, and Atlantic's so filthy with the shit is that they would turn around and have a team of writers, a team of producers waiting for you. So once you go through the meeting, they strip away all your esteem, they strip away all your confidence in your own work. They send you right to the studio with this the hot producer at the time, with the creative team and the writers, and they got whole songs waiting on you. And for some niggas, they even got their raps waiting on you. You wouldn't believe the phone calls I got in the middle of the night from niggas talking about, man, won't you come in to the studio, but let me write all your shit. I mean, I wouldn't want to get that to you, right? As a critic or whatever, like, I finna have this dope ass song, it's gonna be huge, it's gonna be all over the radio, I'm finna sell a bunch of records, the video finna be crazy, but I ain't had shit to do with it.
that's fire.
Yeah, your favorite Terry Little Bacon Bear. And when they snuck over and said, "Do you want to talk to Ghazi?" I said, "Well, hell yeah," because there's only a couple people that do things right. And I don't know if I've ever got to see you in D.C., but can you talk to the people in D.C. right quick? Give them a quick little rundown of who you are, what you do.
My name is Ghazi. I run a pretty formidable record label called Empire, and I'm just out here trying to create livelihood for the people I love.
That was such a humble response. That was the humble response, because I think when you say Empire, it has cranked out some fantastic names, it has given us great talents, but it has also stayed consistent. And I think that a lot of talents, when we talk about rappers, everybody says, "Oh, stay consistent," but that's like the really hard thing to do.
Incredibly hard.
How long have you been in the game at this point?
I've been making music consistently and been in and around music for about 30 years.
30
and
years.
And then Empire been doing this thing since 2010, so this will be the 13th year.
What makes a special talent, and how do you know when you see a star?
Something in your gut. Really, honestly, it's not something you can really explain. It's kind of like, it's like when you meet a girl and she give you a little butterfly in your stomach, right? It's like you meet an artist and you're like, there's something special about this person.
Okay.
There's a reason that I want to engage. I want to hear the music, the smile, the charisma, the aura. It's aura.
The aura.
You talked about, like, you know, your relationship with Empire. Shout out to Ghazi. What is it about working with Ghazi that, like, you don't think, because a lot of, you know, I feel like Empire is this island in the middle of the music industry that some people know about, but other people are like, what is going on over there? Like, what is it about working with Empire and Ghazi that to you is like special and sets that company apart? Because I know Ghazi's one of the smartest guys I know. So
I feel like they family. I feel like if I go broke today, I can call Ghazi and say, brother, know what I'm saying? Me from me one of them Emberleys, man.
Right.
There you go.
So Mozzie would have a pretty much a pretty interesting different take on how he deals business with Ghazi, as far as he can get more from Ghazi if he actually gives him a call. But in the past, as you've seen, not too many of the other artists have had that same luck with Ghazi, as it seems too. Also, I want to send a special shout out to Only One Zane. Thank you so much for the Cash App. I greatly appreciate that. And God bless to you as well. I did read that message. God bless to you as well. Ghazi pretty much can either be God to you, or Ghazi can pretty much be the devil to you, from pretty much what we're gathering here. Also, take note to the artist that he's pretty much the devil to.
Fork it over. You feel me? I feel like I could call Neem team. I need $100K like today though.
Right.
And he had forked that over, and that's it's crazy the relationship that I got with him. So anytime I can persuade somebody in it, not even persuade, man. Anytime I could recommend, what I'm saying, me, or refer somebody to Empire, man, I for surely go.
You have relationships with Ghazi.
Yeah, that's my boy.
What is it about Ghazi that, like, they got a formula, they got a team, they just straight with it, man. What is it that about them over there, Empire and Ghazi over there in the Bay? Shout out to the Bay.
That's my boy.
That
Shout
made
out
you
to
say, I
Ghazi.
want to fuck with you. I want to fuck with y'all. Like, we could get some money together.
Man, it's really the best place I could have really went for distribution.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best place. You know what I mean? Like, man.
So you stating on here that Empire is the best place for distribution for independent artists. It was the best place for you.
It's the best place for me.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the best place for me, and it's like it's the best place to go for distribution. But you gotta kind of have your shit together and really be on your shit. You know what I'm saying? Because it ain't on nobody else, bro. You doing distribution like that shit on you. It's like you gotta have your shit together. And it's on you, bro.
So once they send it to the air, you got to have all the other components together in order to support what they sending into the air.
Bro, you getting your projects together. You know what I mean? Me, you know what I mean? It's like you doing everything. You know what I mean, bro? You getting your projects together. You doing your, bro, just every fucking thing.
Right.
The rollout.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Marketing, rollout. With me, the shit different, bro, because this what I do. You know what I mean? I don't know about what everybody else doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But me, it's my perfect fit. Bro.
You be directing
I mean,
the videos?
'cause I can do what I want. Oh, hell yeah. I've been directing my own videos since I started.
Yeah.
Big shit. So
I just find it intriguing. Vaughn died post his interview with $1 Million Worth of Game. P&B Rock dies post his interview with $1 Million Worth of Game. There's not a coincidence of habits there. Dolph dies post his $1 Million Worth of Game interview. There's so many quick instances in which Young Thug goes to jail post his $1 Million Worth of Game interview. It's so many instances and coincidences that you see that Empire pretty much has had a hand in things, and almost an evil hand in things. Thank you so much, and I greatly appreciate that as well. And I will continue to do this all the time. As I said before, I think I'm obligated now to cover more of Young Dolph, which I will. So, needless to say, Ghazi pretty much is the devil, and there are there's a mixed crowd as far as people that, perceive him as otherwise. But as you just seen in a clip here with Dolph pretty much, when was asked, was Empire the best label for distribution or best label, he pretty much hesitated and had the most unsure face in the world that you've ever seen in your entire life. Pretty much said, look, it was a good situation for me. I don't know about everybody else. Hell, I don't even recommend everybody else even come here.
Yeah. I had a few people hit my line like a few weeks ago, or about a couple months ago, because Russ said he was building an empire like Ghazi Shami.
Juju,
I'm
what
not
it
gonna
do?
lie. I'm not gonna lie, that felt good in my spirit. I appreciate it. It feels good to be recognized by somebody that has done very well for himself. So I appreciate that. But that brought us to a pretty cool conversation and a pretty cool narrative, which is we're in a space now where more than ever artists are able to dictate your legacy, able to dictate your path. There's more empowerment now than ever. And something that's always been fundamental to the nature of my company is I always said, I want to be a green light when everybody else is a stop sign. And so I've always believed in enabling and empowering artists, whether it was through licensing masters rather than owning them, or providing studio time, or providing budgets, or radio, or whatever it was. I always just believed in artist empowerment. And so I believe that Jack Boy embodies the spirit of me saying, hey, run wild. Like, he got out of jail. I sent him a DM and I said, I've been holding a check for you for a long time. You don't know me, but I got some money for you because when you went to jail, his brother Kodak, but we're keeping it real. His brother Kodak gave me his tape and said, load up this tape and hold my brother's royalties for him. And then Kodak happened to go to jail. Jack Boy got out and I was holding his royalties for like 2 years.
What was interesting about this particular clip here, if you guys aren't familiar, Kodak Black and Jack Boy up there have beef. Correct me if I'm wrong. Just recently, and I mean just recently, Jack Boy says he put voodoo on Kodak Black himself. I'm not making that part up. He literally tells everyone that he did voodoo on Kodak Black. I mean, I don't have to show you the whole headline, do I? But, or should I say, I don't have to show you the whole clip, but you see it plain as day right there. Jack Boy says he put voodoo on Kodak Black. So all while Ghazi Shami is literally saying, oh, I had money for Jack Boy and his boy Kodak Black is who gave me the, how did that happen later on?
And so I sent him.
I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, and then I told him, I said, fly out here and maybe we can turn this into more money. And I gave him an opportunity. But at the end of the day, all I did was open the door. It was up to him to walk through.
The one thing that you can acquire for free is relationships. So I spent a lot of time building relationships. I was at a lot of conferences. I flew all over the world to build a lot of the relationships that I have now. And a lot of those relationships last a really long time because a lot of the people who are definitely key figures and gatekeepers in the music industry, they happen to move around from company to company. And once you've formed a strong bond with them, as they tend to shift around, you can utilize those relationships, to get your music into places that you otherwise might not be able to get them to.
And he was fucking around with the chopsticks. And we was just sitting there and we started talking about kids. He was like, you're gonna be a great dad. I said, you're gonna be a great dad too someday, bro. He said, no, I'm not. So what do you mean? And he just looked me dead in the eye and he was like, I'm not gonna make it past 21. And then just went right back to fucking with the chopsticks. Like he hadn't said a thing.
All right, let's say worst thing comes to worst, I die a tragic death or and I'm not able to see out my dreams. I at least want to know that the kids perceived my message and were able to make something of themselves and able to take my message and use it and turn it into something positive and to at least have a good life.
Rest in peace to X Tentacion. He is yet another gentleman that one day I will do a deep dive on because that is a very deep gentleman. And if you've been, paying attention to the pod as of late, the past couple of months, I have already hinted at and divulged information, plenty information, as to who X Tentacion's actual killer is. We've done many deep dives already on X Tentacion accidentally, Actually, the last one we did was through Kendrick Lamar, in which he pretty much put us down the rabbit hole of who was Tentacion's actual killer. Or should I say investor in his actual killing. Among that, you have to also pay attention to the fact that Drake definitely has done business with Ghazi. Hell, Drake's mentioned Ghazi in lyrics. Drake's also been seen in pictures with Ghazi. It would be very easy for Drake to get something done to Tentacion through Ghazi. Especially when you also have been said to have the partnerships and points on all these people's publishing an album. Yes, Omerta Creative. It's interesting to me that Ghazi has had so many connections within the industry the way he does. And if we're talking about just Pop Smoke in general, if we had to just narrow it down to how would he get what would he gain from Pop Smoke passing? It would simply be the insurance policy.
To this, do you ever got an account over here? We need the password to this. You be thinking like, they just gonna have access to it, but they changed your whole shit over. You heard me? You be like, they even rerouted my money. I don't even get my YouTube checks no more.
So you can't drop a video tomorrow or a vlog. You got to send it to the label first.
Hell yeah.
What the fuck?
According to French Montana, the rising death toll has prompted record labels to take out life insurance policies on their artists. Speaking to the Off the Record podcast, French Montana speculated that the labels were anticipating a big payday if their artist gets murdered.
And we was beefing for real. Like, people was like dying and this and that, and it was just like it was blocking a lot of money. People don't want to touch you. You know what I'm saying? You know, your rap friends, somebody gets shot, your rap friends stop picking up, the label stop picking up. Nah, it gets crazy. You know what I'm saying? It gets crazy. But now it's even crazier because they getting life insurance on artists. At least back then we didn't have that.
Somebody told me that shit.
Yeah.
Is a label signing an artist in good faith if you're taking a life insurance out on him?
No, you praying on his death. You praying on making millions on his death.
Or are they being realistic though?
Both. They're being realistic, and you're supposed to have life. You know what I'm saying? Life insurance anyway, but when the label does it, if you don't have one, that's crazy.
At least 20 notable rappers were fatally shot in 2021. Some hometown heroes, others nationally celebrated artists. Young Dolph was gunned down in his hometown of Memphis last November as he went to pick up baked goods for his mother at Makita's Homemade Cookies. Draco the Ruler was stabbed to death backstage at the Once Upon a Time in LA Music Festival right before Christmas, while YG affiliate Slim 400 was shot and killed in Los Angeles just days prior.
French gave me an amazing experience. This is in Miami. French pulled up, and by the way, I looked at French differently that night because I'm still looking at him from the rap lenses, but I'm not realizing how this guy has taken advantage of the opportunity and just being popular and famous and even being in these circles. Like, he's cool with these motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Like he introduced me to I think he ran to Larson Pippen.
Pay attention to what academic says here. You'll quickly start to realize where academics' money comes from.
Serena Williams, like just random people there. Was like, I'm in there like, yo, this gotta be like the closest to the Illuminati I'm gonna get.
It's a level of success where it's a door. It's a door. When you platinum and you getting 50,000 a show, I've been there. There's a door that you can walk in. I'm not sure if it's homo or if it's Illuminati.
We have things that we want to talk about. Latest block, hip hop rumors. Did French Montana get initiated into the Illuminati? And if that is the case, can you bring me in too, fam?
Yeah.
I want in, fam. I need some of this. I need some of this, fam. I need get in. If there's any offers going, bring me in, baby. I'll sit next to Jay or Ye. I don't care.
A very specific question coming from someone when we went over Kendrick Lamar's blind items, Timmy Westwood here has quite a bit of a pedophile case in the background of his past, doesn't he? Almost very Jeffrey Epstein, Weinstein like, Mr. Tim Westwood. So he would definitely know if a French Montana was definitely indoctrinated into the Illuminati, wouldn't he?
Bring me in, fam.
Me and Ross had the same
Considering this is around the time that we started seeing French pop up with Kardashian after Kardashian.
conversation.
Is he in the Illuminati as well now?
Now he asked me, you know.
Oh, he asked you. He asked you if you're in the Illuminati.
Nah, he said if the Illuminati come to your house, I'm gonna let him in and I'm gonna sign right there.
Once you learn it as an artist, that should be like kind of like scary for a label. They be like, damn, this motherfucker asking too many questions.
Right.
Like, we gonna figure it out. They'll try to stall you out, you know what I'm saying? But it's like,
let me ask you this, P, because a lot of artists are affiliate or assumed to be a part of this secret society, the Illuminati. And they think it exists in the music. People think it exists in the music business, and that urban artists actually are able to participate in this society. Have you experienced anything that leads you to believe there is a secret society that some artists are privy to of certain access and that others aren't?
Nah, I don't believe that.
You don't believe that?
Nah, I don't believe that. I believe that there's definitely secret society. You know what I mean? I believe definitely maybe some of these label heads, like major labels and like major corporate companies, might have something to do with it, and they, might be involved with the agenda.
But the point what I'm trying to say, whether it's Drake or the Ruler, I didn't even know Fireboy DML was on it. Mo3, X, Young Dolph, P&B Rock really was barely on it. Probably did like a song or two. Or King Von. Empire doesn't benefit from them. Empire, it's not like, for example, Pop Smoke is signed to Steven Victor. Steven Victor had him in the major label system. Steven Victor's getting the bag off that. Obviously the family too, because you'd be an asshole not to cut the family in, but Empire not really eating off these artists that passed away. And if that's your case, it would be basically saying, yo, iTunes is getting a killing. iTunes gets 30% off any sale, any stream, any transaction on the Apple platform. I think Empire probably takes at max 30% too. So if you're gonna say that Empire's benefiting all these guys' deaths, so is Apple, iTunes.
White pocket. I spent most of my college years in the Silicon Valley working at streaming companies in the .com era. So late 90s, early 2000s, we were doing a lot of MP3 technology, video compression technology.
Success to me is autonomy. I'm completely in control of my own destiny and completely in control of my own decision making.
I bet you are, Mr. Ghazi Shami, with your devilish looking goddamn eyes. As I said before, when you literally look at Ghazi and hear him talk, you literally damn near see the devil. Yes, Juju, Ak is always doing the good damage control. He tries to do damage control for Ice Spice. He's doing a shit show job for Drake right now, even though there's nothing he can do about Drake. He's just taking piss after shit on him after shit on him after shit on him right now in regards to trying to defend Drake. So yes, Ak pretty much is damn sure damage control for the labels. And terrible at it right now. Ghazi Shami has pretty much been quiet about majority of the things. Now, he's also addressed the quote-unquote rumors. Yes, definitely sounds like a humanoid lizard. Definitely looks like one of the shape-shifting lizards. Definitely does. I would not be surprised, even with him being Palestinian, would not be surprised that he has some reptilian in him in that host. Ghazi Shami has responded to the allegations that his label is pretty much a graveyard to artists. Of course, he says he has nothing to do with that, and that majority of the artists died with street killings. Or so that's what you've made it look like. Or should I say, wanted it to look like. But it's very notable that you, sir, collect insurance policies on majority of these artists. You don't have to own their masters for you to receive the benefits of the royalties, considering the fact that you yourself have said you know algorithms, you know social media, you know the ins and outs and crannies and mechanics of how social media and streaming actually works. That would tell me there, especially when you have the manipulation of the algorithm that you do to make numbers look the certain way they do, it also tells me that you have other power and manipulations otherwhere else too. Considering you have the compound that is literally a 5-hour drive from Hercules Drive, where Pop Smoke was killed. You have an entire compound in the same state not too far away from where Pop Smoke was killed. Isn't that something? Then if we're going to really look at things, as Act just said, Stephen St. Victor would be the one that benefits off of this. Hell, b.l.a.c was the one that actually mentioned that Stephen St. Victor does receive residuals for after Pop Smoke's killing. Now, isn't that something? The only other person that has something to do with his estate is Stephen St. Victor and Ghazi. As regards to Pop Smoke, because Pop Smoke didn't have a masters to own. So what does that mean? Ghazi has to step on Stephen St. Victor's neck now to make sure this album does come out, as well as we recoup back our advance that we gave Mr. Pop Smoke through the royalties of this album. We will recoup. Because the life insurance policy we have on Pop Smoke doesn't really mean much, especially when it only, and a lot of people don't realize this, right? The life insurance policies, especially for an artist, they're taken upon with the deciding factor being the actual value of things. So let's move forward to what Stephen St. Victor had to say about Pop Smoke, because he would actually give a very interesting piece of information in regards to prior to the passing of Pop Smoke.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Stephen Victor. He is the force behind Pop Smoke. You know, we're remembering Pop Smoke, this phenomenal project that's been put together, Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon. It's a bittersweet moment, you know, obviously bringing this album to fruition, Pop not being with us to enjoy the moment. How much was already done, and how much did you have to go back and finish?
So a lot of it was done because the idea, like it's crazy because everything was coming together the way we spoke about it. The whole idea was we were going to put out, when I spoke to Pop when we were working on the first mixtape, we were going to put out a series of mixtapes, Meet the Woo 1, Meet the Woo 2, Meet the Woo 3, however long it took to make his name a staple, you know what I'm saying? And then from there we would go to the album. So after the second mixtape, it was like, you know what I'm saying? He was making a
That
name for
Dior
himself.
was ringing
Yeah,
out
it was
here,
rocking, you know what I'm
son.
saying? And when he did Dior, I
That
remember
Christopher Walken, Walken is moving out here.
Nah, thank you,
Good
man.
Lord.
So yeah, so you know, we only did two. We did, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, so me and Pop had spoke, like this was like in January, because you know he was so busy the end of the year, the end of 2019. I remember he would be in London on Monday, and then in New York on Wednesday, and then LA on Thursday. And I just remember, like, then this was every week. Yeah, every week is like, it was just crazy, and he was going back and forth to court. So I just remember, like around December, he had to go to London. And then I was like, yo, when you get back, like right after the break, you know what I'm saying, you could take a vacation. Because he used to be like, yo, bro, I'm tired. I'm not used to it. This is crazy. You know?
And that's when I knew Stephen St. Victor had something to do also with the passing of Pop Smoke. Remember, Stephen St. Victor is also the main manager, and I mean the main manager to Pusha T, one half of the Clips. Stephen St. Victor has always been the main manager and around Pusha T. This Pop Smoke thing was something that pretty much took up a majority of his schedule in regards to him trying to still manage Pusha T. Now, not saying that that's the reason why he did what should I say, the reason why he might have been involved, but more so what he just said. Pop Smoke died in February. He was set to go to London in December. And after December, Stephen St. Victor told him to do what? He told him to take a load off and go on vacation. That vacation is what cost Pop Smoke his life. What Stephen St. Victor would then go to do would be a noble thing, of course, and release the album. But the thing about the release of the album was that it wasn't received very well from the deep core Pop Smoke fans, and they said that he had actually ruined the album. When I heard that, I thought to myself, maybe Stephen St. Victor does have somewhat of a good soul. That's why I paused it here. I don't necessarily sense evil energy from Stephen St. Victor. I more so sense energy in the sense that he sabotaged the album of Pop Smoke so that Ghazi or no one else would reap the benefits off of the insurance policy that was taken out on Pop Smoke. It would seem, being that he's also part of the estate, said by b.l.a.c, that any further proceeds are now directly going to go to the family, especially since the album tanked. The life insurance policy would value it damn near nothing after the album is tanked. It would have only meant something. Get this. The insurance policy only would have meant something of value if Pop Smoke's album was successful. Listen to what b.l.a.c says. This is Pop Smoke's own brother.
Support. You know what I'm saying? Look at all the fake love right now. I ain't get this much though. Appreciate it. Thank y'all for listening to bro shit. Yo, thank y'all for giving y'all opinions. But what the title of this live says it all. You wanna know why? Cause ain't it funny? b.l.a.c's been fighting for bro since the beginning. Since he died, bro. It's been me. You could check. Hold on, my service. Check the stats, yo. Check the stats. Since my brother passed, I've been the only one fighting. My mom has been taking care of the business shit as she should. Anybody who has an opinion now, who you feel is a friend and they ain't say nothing to Steven or come to us and form a game plan, when in the beginning b.l.a.c said, yo, we stronger together, but everybody decided that they would be dispatched and dispersed around wherever they wanted to be. They would click up and do this and do that. Now look, everybody got an opinion. Oh, I don't like the way it happened. I don't like this. I don't like that. So what? Stop bitching. Now everybody gonna talk about, oh, it's this, it's that, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. You know what? Personally, yes, some things are lacking. And I'll be upfront with that. Yes, certain things
are definitely lacking. But furthermore, if you didn't pay attention to what he said, Stephen St. Victor is one of the main holders of the estate, along with him and his mother. b.l.a.c, the mom, and Stephen St. Victor are the main ones calling the plays over there in regards to Pop Smoke now, especially since you have the flopping of the actual album. So with the flopping of the album, to Stephen St. Victor for literally sabotaging Ghazi's whole fucking plan, including God and karma and how they work. Here's the thing, right? Remember, if the insurance policy was only going to work, or should I say only going to mean something of value if Pop Smoke's album actually did something more of value. Now, it was projected to do certain numbers, but it didn't do expected. It didn't do as expected around platinum status. Rightfully so, of course, we're in streaming times, number one. Number two, Pop Smoke also wasn't around to promote the album. He wasn't around to promote the album, work the album, do any shows, do any videos for it. There wasn't enough footage to carry on to put him in videos, but yet damn near good 4 or 5 records off the album had videos and visuals. Needless to say, it was a success more than a failure that Pop Smoke's debut album flopped. I was reading normally when someone has an insurance policy on them, there is more of an investigation done as to motive. So the police, yes, the police are definitely into it. The police, I hope, are definitely into it, but they'll never get to the bottom of the life insurance policy part because that is a music industry practice. To arrest one, you would have to arrest many, is what I'm getting at. That's a hornet's nest that kicked by itself. Yes, 50 didn't understand what they were doing. Exactly. 50's sole job was to make sure that the album came out and did some type of success. That's why you saw him even investing in the Woo video with Roddy Ricch and making it look so good. But I don't think necessarily 50 even wanted to benefit off of the album as much as he was, as he said in the interview, was just trying to do a favor. I think that favor was for more so the higher ups than it was for him later on. But to circumference things and wrap them up, as you notice the snake trail that I went, hint, hint, pun on words there, the snake trail that I went, from Pop Smoke's alleged killer, who we pretty much can confirm now was just the fall guy and was not the actual trigger man of Pop Smoke. Hell, from what we can tell, the kid might not have even been there to begin with and was just the fall kid. Because remember, if he's 15, even 16 at the time, which there were holes in his story about his age, regardless of what he was a minor. Which would tell me, as many times as people have said about that evening, that it was a planned killing. You have Amelia Rose saying it. You have newscasters saying it. You have people that were there saying it. Everyone is saying that that was an inside job, especially considering Mike was not the only person there with Pop. His entourage was there as well. It wasn't just Pop and Mike in the damn house. So further down this as we're going along the snake trail, right? We've debunked now the killer was not necessarily the killer that they say he was. Amelia also says that Mike had something to do with it. Mike was acting very strange and very nervous. Put on the alarm prior to them coming. Why would you put on the alarm prior to them coming? You just sounded off the alarm as before they were coming in and just say, "Hey, you got time, nigga. Nigga, get out. You got this amount of time before they get here. Get your ass out." That's what that's telling me. But even more so, why was all the information posted on Mike D's page? If you didn't have anything necessarily to do with the Woo being killed, I would see a lot more, tributes from you. Not just you flexing off the money, which I'm still, like I said, questioning now. Because Tekashi 6ix9ine can make a couple $1 million right now and in his situation. That's the thing. The value of Pop Smoke's music would have been amazingly great had the album not flopped. this is one of those things where you have to notice also how much it was beneficial for Fabio Foreign that Pop Smoke had to die. Considering they said that they were on the same label at the same time, which he didn't disclose what label that actually was. On top of the fact that Drizzy Giuliano says that Fabio and Pop never even got along with each other. So now we have the supposed killer who's not really the killer, just the fall guy. We have Mike D, who is said to be the main guy that set it up with another black woman, Talia Tilly, we found out. And Amelia Rose is just pretty much traumatized at these last 4 or 5 years, making numerous posts hinting and letting you know who Pop Smoke's killer might actually be. But then we get to the final piece of the pie cut, Mr. Ghazi Shami, in which Ghazi has money to recoup, as he says. We always recoup. We might do an 80-20 deal, but then after the 80-20 deal where you receive all the benefits, you could step up to a better tier and have the 360 tier. The 360 tier is where I own your shit still. And if something were to happen to you, I own your shit still. But you are popular enough while something happens to you, I make money and own your shit still. Especially considering the artists that he's had. One can only point to the fact that the music industry has some dark secrets. Dark secrets. And they do take life insurance policies out on their artists. And if I were a betting man, I would say look no further than Ghazi as far as insurance policy hits. Because as you just heard, how is it that in such a short period of time, maybe 2 to 3 years, it's a short amount of time. After everybody signs to Empire, they pass away. Right after doing any type of deal with Empire Records, if you were at a certain plateau in tier, as he calls it, if you see it, don't be alarmed. Don't be alarmed. As far as for the Wu and Pop Smoke, I hope this, brought a lot more light to the many hands in the pot, similar to Nipsey Hussle. But how many hands in the pot there were for the killing of Pop Smoke. From Ghazi Shami down to Mike D to Fabio Foreign. Maybe there'll be another guy that says he did something in jail. We don't know. Hopefully not. I hope Blackstar has taught all of these fake home invaders a lesson, if you will. But furthermore, I do hope that this, like I said, brought more light to the killing of Pop Smoke and let people know that, yes, and confirms this was an inside job, most definitely. This wasn't just a home invasion robbery whatsoever. This was a definite murder. Pop Smoke was definitely, unfortunately, murdered at a young 20 years old. All because certain people wanted to benefit off of his removal. You clearly saw how Mike was benefiting off of the removal in his own Instagram. You heard how Fabio was going to benefit off it on Kitchen Talk. With Pop being gone, he now can run the city. And then we have the unfortunate of the life insurance policy taken out from Ghazi. But again, kudos to Stephen St. Victor who blocked your whole shit. I give kudos where kudos is due to Stephen St. Vic for that. Even though you were also the man that sent him to his death going on vacation, it doesn't seem like you actually knew that he would, run into that type of situation while on vacation, of course. So, needless to say, we are pretty much summed up with the Wu. And I hope this brought a lot of light to what happened to our gentleman. Because none of this will bring him back. But I hope there are a lot of, I hope this brought a lot of peace to a lot of people as well in regards to what happened to Pop Smoke. And definitely pray for Miss Amelia Rose. I definitely hope you're okay somewhere. I definitely hope you're seeking some therapy from the traumatizing situation you had to deal with. And God bless to you for letting us all know that it was Mike D, his own elementary school best friend, that single-handedly set up the killing of Pop Smoke. Rest in peace, Pop Smoke.